Hi there. I'm Matt with K15T, and today we are going to talk about using Confluence automation to automate all the things. And when I mean all the things, I mean a lot of the things. Confluence automation is like this enormous thing, but also it's teeny tiny and very approachable. So you can go from, oh, wow, I totally understand this, to, oh my gosh, there is so much we can do with this. So let's get into that. But first of all, I want to invite you to the live stream. That's right. This is live, which means you'll get to watch me fail live, which is fun, but also you get to watch me succeed live. And you can add your thoughts in the chat, just like Christian has. Hey, Christian. Hey, Nicola. Good to see you in there. So jump into the live chat because this is a fully interactive live stream. That means I'm looking for you to help guide me here. Ask questions, leave comments, use emoji like crazy. This is a time for all of us to get together to figure out how we can use Confluence to do what it is that we do best. And automation is a huge part of that. So you might also notice that Mixmaster Stefan is in the chat. He is an automation genius. At some point, I think he will be fully operating via automation and AI. At this point, there is still some independent consciousness there. But Stefan is our automation genius, and he will be starting a poll right now, so you can let us know if you're currently using Confluence automation, because that we're just sort of curious about that. So if you just sort of let me know, you might also see Avi Zelenko in the chat. Avi plays a pretty important role in automation, in that Avi is the product manager for automation in Confluence. What can he say? Except you're welcome. Avi, it's so good to have you here as well. So jump in the chat, use that poll as well, and add your questions. In fact, if you have like just questions about what I'm talking about, throw them in there. If you have very specific automation ideas, or like, hey, how would I do da-ba-da-ba-doo, use the hashtag automate this. Just hashtag automate this, all one word. Just throw your idea in there. And we will try, if we have time at the end, to just, I don't know, play around and see if we can automate the thing that you're talking about. So use hashtag automate this, and Stefan will be in the chat kind of collecting those, and then you'll get to watch me fumble around and, I don't know, try to build an automation, which would be pretty cool. Raymond, it's great to have you here. Using Confluence at work, want to see what automation is all about. Oh my goodness, hi George, hey Lance, it's so nice to see everybody here. All right, my friends, I am super excited to have you all here. Wow, I'm currently seeing that like 62% of folks here currently are not using automation. That's pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. For the rest of you, I hope you're going to learn some new things here. We've been using automation at Confluence for a while now, and one of the things that we are very passionate about is sharing our knowledge with the world. And one of the things that we love to do is sharing best practices, the things that we have learned, sort of the best ways to do things, not just what does the thing do. So I'm going to have a sprinkling of all of those things in here. But to get started, I want to just ask, what are those things that you do every day that are just kind of, I don't want to say a waste of your time, but they're the things that are preventing you from doing the thing that you actually care about, that you're actually passionate about. Those little tasks, or maybe big tasks, that you're doing every week that just take up your time. And, you know, based on 60% of y'all not using automation currently, I would guess that there's a lot of you doing things that you just don't love at the moment. So what are Confluence automation? So the idea with Confluence automation, and, you know, maybe this makes Avi cringe, I don't know, but the way I like to think about it is automation is kind of like having a bunch of little robots in Confluence, where those little robots are helping you do the things that you need to do. And there's many different things that we can do with automations. In just a second, my live stream has stopped working. Hey, live stream, you need to show my screen. It's getting shy. Just a second. Oh my goodness. These silly things, you know? sometimes I don't like to show up either. Okay, here we go. So Confluence Automation is here to help us assemble a team of robots to do the things that aren't the things that we love. So like, here's a bunch of things that maybe I don't necessarily love, and I've created automations about. So this, when I first heard about automation for Confluence, I was like, oh, cool. I don't want to code stuff because I took coding classes in school and it didn't take. Okay, I wrote some Java and I'm not a coder now. So if that, if that tells a story, so I don't want to write code. The nice thing is with automation, you're not writing code. There are some syntaxes that we need to understand, but this is not writing code per se. And that, even the word syntax might seem scary. If you know a language that you speak, like, I'm like pretty good at English-ish. If I know how to speak English, it's just a way of sort of formatting words and putting them together so they make sense. That is a syntax that I've learned. So if you can speak a language, you're doing well there. If you have ever created a spreadsheet formula in Excel or Google Sheets, where, you do a calculation or something, you are well on your way to knowing exactly what you need to do here to create an automation. If you've ever used something like CQL to look for information in Confluence, that's Confluence query language, by the way, then you can absolutely totally do this. So do not stress. If you're not a coder, it's okay. You don't need to write code. Now, this has already been mentioned in the chat. Thank you so much, Abhi, for commenting. Automation is part of Confluence Premium or Confluence Enterprise, which means more money if you are currently only paying for Confluence Standard. Now, this is actually one of those features that I really like, because when as a team, when you're looking at investments, it's hard sometimes to figure out, is this worth the monetary increase for this tool or new team member or whatever? Like, does it make sense to invest money here? Will we, get a return? Automations are a really great thing because we can actually figure that out with math, which is awesome. So, if, for example, your team is every week, there is a member spending 5 minutes a week creating a meeting page, let's say. 5 minutes a week, we have, 40 weeks in a year. We can start to calculate, okay, so how much is that person's time worth? How much are we paying them roughly per hour? Times the number of weeks in a month and in a year. So how much money does it cost us to create that meeting page every year? Okay. So we start to have 52, thank you. I'm like 40 weeks, where is this coming from? 52 weeks in a year, this just in, thank you. You can do the math here. If you start to collect the tasks that everybody's doing on a repetitive basis, you can actually calculate how much money are we currently spending to do these things? Yeah, and it often turns out it's a bunch of money that we're spending to do this sort of stuff. And you can use that really literal mathematical calculation to be like, is Confluence Premium or Enterprise worth it to us? Generally, almost always, the answer is going to be yes. And remember, that's just automation. Premium also comes with databases, and it comes with whiteboards, and it comes with Atlassian intelligence. So don't let that be the only calculation you run, because there are so many different calculations. But that's a pretty great one because you can just do the maths. And the whole purpose of this is to get you and your team doing the things that you actually care about, not creating that weekly meeting page. I mean, unless you really care about that. But I feel like, there's more you could do. Just think about it. Okay, so the question is, what should you automate? And there are so many things that we could automate, but here are some things to keep in mind. One is, think about, does this thing that I want to do in Confluence, is this something that needs to happen over and over again? sometimes we have something that looks annoying, but we don't need to do it many times. Like, okay, we have this group of pages that we need to archive. Is this something that I need to do just once and never again? Or is this something that needs to happen on a monthly basis or anytime I want it to happen? If the answer is it's a one-time thing, sometimes that means don't build an automation, because you can just go through the pain of feeling it once and then never again. But if you're feeling the pain over and over again, that can signal, okay, this might be time to use this. Now, sometimes there are actions where you don't need to do it all that often, but sometimes. And there's actually a nice new feature that just came out where I can go to the content manager here in my space, which shows all of the content here. And rather than building an automation that's scheduled or, well, really, instead of building one that runs at a specific time, if I know that I want to do something with all of my events pages, I can run an automation right here. Now, I don't have an automation that I can run on these pages, but if I did, I could just come here and run an automation to like apply labels to these pages or archive these pages because we just wrapped up this particular project or something like that. So if there's a one-time thing, either maybe you don't need to automate it, or maybe you just come into the content manager and run it on all of the pages all at once, and you get to control when that automation runs. So think about that. Do you need to do it lots of times? Do you need to do it just once? That's one way to think about it. A lot of things, tasks that are really easy to be like, yep, this should be automated. One is time-based tasks. So create a weekly meeting notes page. Every month, go through and archive pages. Every quarter, go and archive this space because we no longer need it. Those types of tasks, we know we have those cycles in our work. Those are amazing things to automate. Another type of task would be action-based tasks. Avi and Stefan are like cranking in the chat. This is so awesome. It's like I'm attending another live stream while I'm giving this one. So if I stop to just like stare, I'm just watching it, what Stefan and Avi are talking about. Action-based tasks are awesome because we have many parts of our processes where it's like when we do a thing, then we need to do another thing, right? We have lots of stuff like that. So when I publish a page, I want to notify my colleagues in Slack that I published a page. Or when I change the status on a page to approved, I want to send an email to my stakeholders to let them know that the page has been approved. Those sorts of things, we're doing those manually all day long. But we could automate this. This is a perfect example of something to automate. And then sometimes there's just straight up manual tasks. Like I just showed that example of, hey, I want to do something with a bunch of pages using the content manager. Maybe I want to apply a group of labels to a page or a bunch of pages, or maybe, hey, this page that has content on it, I'm ready for my coworkers to review it. Now I need to traditionally I would have to type out a Slack message and say, please go and, go and review this thing. These sorts of manual tasks that we know has a bunch of steps, we could also automate those and give you a button to click to automate those. So we talked about a bunch of different examples: email reminders, Slack notifications, recurring meeting pages being created, page archival, page approval, label management, applying or giving or removing permissions. There are so many things that we can do with automation. I need to stop listing it off because this is just going to be a boring live stream of Matt listing stuff. One other thing to know: you need to be an admin to see automation. So if you're not seeing automation here, you need to be a site admin or a space admin. If you don't see it right now in your space and you're like, hey, I feel like I should be able to be, to be able to create automations, talk to your site admin. You probably just don't have the permissions. You should, if you're ready to build these things, get those permissions that you need and you should be ready to go. You'll see automation here and then you can start building them. All right, so I want to say, hey, let's automate a thing. the first thing we can do is hit this create rule button and we're good to go. That is not the case, because before we start building something, we need to make a plan, because you might know how to build an automation. Hopefully by the end of this live stream you do, but the people you're working with might not, right? The people you're working with, they're just like, hey, I want to do this, 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 and this when this thing happens. But like, how do I do that? It can be tricky to get that out of people's heads and into an automation. So a great technique to use is to create a when-then statement. So let's take the example of, we are working with our team and we create a weekly meeting page and we want to automate that so we don't have to do it anymore. So we can use the when-then statement template. And I've actually created this right here in a Confluence whiteboard. So let's just write it out. And this is going to be scintillating content because I'm literally going to write something in front of y'all. So let's say when, and this is great because I can just have a conversation with my team. We could be in a meeting right now with this whiteboard pulled up and I can be like, okay, when should this thing run? Okay. So when it's, I don't know, Wednesday. Ugh. We really gonna do a Wednesday meeting? Sure, why not? When it's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Let's say 9 a.m. or just 9 if you know how to tell 24-hour time, which everyone should because it makes so much more sense. Okay, when it's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Okay, that is when this thing is going to happen. And by the way, you could also just write this as a sentence. It's just, I don't know, whiteboards are easy for this. Then let's create a new page. Let's create a new page called, and like, then this is where I can ask the team, okay, like what would you expect this page to be called? What would you look for? And you can be like, okay, well, we want it to have like the year and the month and the day, just so we know, when it happened. And then we'll call it the alignment meeting. Typing in front of people, y'all, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard to do? And we'll say, and we want it to be under the weekly meetings page, right? We want to specify where should this thing be in the content tree, because that's important as well. Okay, so this is really cool. We know what it should be called. We know where it should be. And we want to do something else because it's helpful for the team to have really quick access to this because we're creating it the day of the meeting. So the team tells me that we want to send an email. Ooh, email. Okay, so we'll send an email with a link to the page. Cool. So it goes into their inbox. They can click it and get going. I'm just going to look at the chat for like 2 seconds here because y'all are just writing a novel up here. And I don't think I'm adding any benefit to this incredible brain work that's being done. This is great. Okay, I'm gonna, if anybody's interested in a spiral bound version of the comments by the end of this, it will be available for $19.95. And I think it will be an epic. All right, so I now have a when then statement. And you can see that I have multiple thens here. Now this is admittedly a bit simple, but you could get together with a team for a more complex problem and you could have a lot of things here. You could have, when this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this, and also this. So that's why this approach is really helpful because you might have a bunch here. And this also helps you visualize a little bit because you might see all the things the team wants to do. And you might think, how can I simplify this a little bit? Like, do you really need to do this step? Or, okay, I see that actually it looks like you're doing 2 different things. They both happen on Wednesday morning at 9, but actually we're doing 2 different things. So as an automation builder, you want to think about simplicity. Make sure that you can easily describe what an automation does rather than this is the mess of stuff that we do on Wednesday at 9. So if there are multiple things, break it up. Have 2 different things that happen on Wednesday at 9 because we can. And then you can have the automation that's called create a weekly meeting page. And then a separate one that's called, whatever the other task is that you want to do on Wednesday. So keep your plan simple so that anybody can, oh my gosh. Okay, Avi said they're looking at converting whiteboard diagrams using automation rules. Oh my gosh. Avi, you can't tempt me with new features while I'm trying to do a live stream. This is the thing about automation, y'all. The team is building new stuff for automation so fast that I literally couldn't prepare for this live stream because I'm like looking at stuff, getting ready. I'm like, when did they add that? Like, this is crazy. This is so super fun. This is okay. Focus. What were we looking at? When then, when then statements. Okay. Keep your things simple. Also think about scale. Okay. If you see a plan and you're like, when this happens, then do this, then do this. Think about, could this actually scale out? Are other teams looking to do this thing? In this case, yeah, probably. Like probably many teams are looking at creating weekly meeting pages. So maybe this is something that I could actually share with additional teams. Share ideas back and forth with other teams. If you see a problem that your team has laid out with this when then thing, you might think like, is there another team that has already solved this or maybe also automated this? Go talk to that team. Don't just go build the same automation over. This may have already been solved, and share what you've automated with another team because they might have that problem and they're looking to solve it. And then finally, communicate the changes. Okay. You want to get with the team to write this statement. Don't go off and write this statement by yourself and just implement it. Make sure the team is involved. That's why we have tools like whiteboards so that we can get our ideas all together so everybody can see what's going to happen. Because it would not be good if people just show up in Confluence and then they're like, whoa, where did that page just come from? What is going on? Barb just asked, can you copy an automation from one space to another? Yes, you can export automations and import them very simply in the automation UI. That's a relatively new change. Thank you, automation team. Okay. All right. So enough of my diagram here. We are going to build something. I know. I'm not really a planner either. So I'm like, okay, enough with the planning. Let's just start breaking stuff. Actually, that's how I learned how to use Jira. Okay, so when I drop into the automation tab, I am brought to the templates area. And this is fantastic because this is such a great place to learn. The automation team continues to build more and more templates here. You can search for something you're looking at. There are these awesome little icons that show you how the template starts, what it involves, and like what actions it takes. It's just a very clever thing. So I could pick any one of these to just get started with it. So let's look at this one. So this one is send an email with an AI generated summary and action items when a meeting notes page is published. This is actually very related to our use case. This is super cool. This is all made. It's all described here. I know exactly what this is going to do, and I can start to see all the pieces of this automation rule. This is a very cool resource. Another cool resource that's like pretty new, if you are using Atlassian Intelligence, also a premium feature, you can just say, I want to create another instance where you get to watch Matt Reiner type. I know. It's really beautiful. We'll have a compilation at the end. I want to create a weekly meeting notes page on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. using the meeting notes template. Oh, I should have put that in my when then statement, shouldn't I? That it should be the meeting notes template. Uh-oh, I'm not a very good business analyst right now. All right, let's see what intelligence does. I didn't even proofread that, so I don't even know what I just asked for. It should play music. Okay, so it just created a new automation rule, as if I had just picked a template. So every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m., publish a new page, weekly meeting notes. Okay, it added a date. That's pretty cool. all right, okay, all right. It's not exactly what I want, but I didn't actually write it super well. So like, that's another way to at least get started creating an automation rule. I just wrote my stream of consciousness in there, and and Atlassian Intelligence was like, okay, Matt, let me see what I can do with that. So there is so much here to get started with. In this case, we're going to assume that Matt knows a few things, and we're going to jump over to the rules area. We don't even need to do that, but you can see here's some rules that I have created already. I'm going to hit this button here to create a rule. Here we are. We are in what is known as the rule builder. So here's the rule builder. There's some important things to know. On the left side here, this thing, and we're gonna grow this out with components. This little rounded rectangle is a component. It is part of the rule chain. So you can see there's a little link here. We're going to add things that happen during our automation, right? We're going to build an automation rule, and it starts right here at the top, and it moves down through each step that we will add. They happen in that order, which is super cool because when you look at this, it will happen just as you have defined it in the rule chain. So this is really cool. And that whole list of all the things is called the rule summary because it summarizes the whole story of everything our automation rule is going to do. So just checking my notes in a Confluence page, of course, just to make sure that we have everything. Thank you for dropping that link into the chat. Stefan, you are just absolutely incredible. Whoever builds an automation / AI that equates to Stefan, there's nothing your team can't do. Just saying. Okay, so let's get our automation rule going with a trigger. Triggers are kind of like the triggers that you and I have, except in Confluence, they're always fun. So I'm going to add a trigger here, and you can see that it's telling me it's an event that triggers the automation rule to run. So look over here. We have so many things that can happen to kick off our rule. And like I said earlier, there's lots of different types of things that we could trigger on. So maybe we want a weekly trigger, right? So we could just say, schedule it. So every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Wow, that's like pre-populated. That works out. I literally have to change nothing here. Every week on Wednesday at 9, do something. Hey, that's really cool, right? So, and I can change that. I mean, I can do months, days, minutes. Can I do like 0.25 minutes? No. It's that's gonna break it if I do. Okay. I can't do point. Okay, good work, Avi. Don't let me do anything more often than a minute. You probably shouldn't do anything in minutes. I'm just gonna say. All right, so we could schedule something to happen. Yes, we will have a recording of this video. It will be at exactly the same URL. We will also email a recording of this live stream out to everybody as well. Thanks for asking, Carl. Okay, so that's a schedule trigger. We could do something else, like maybe when something is created. So like when a page is published. So anytime somebody publishes a new page, then do stuff. Or we could maybe use whiteboards. When a whiteboard is created, we'll do some stuff there. There are so many things that we do every day in Confluence that we can trigger off of. Somebody changed the page status. Somebody edited a page. Somebody attached a file to a page. A page was archived. Somebody added a comment. Oh, that one's so cool. Someone added a page comment. A page was moved. The owner was changed. It like so many things that are here, including stuff from other tools like Compass and Jira, which I'll talk a bit about Jira later. Super crazy cool, including working with third-party tools that don't even have a built-in integration using a webhook, which means your third-party tool can tell Confluence, hey, do a thing now. And Confluence will be like, yes, I shall. So let's go with our scheduled one, because in this case, we know that we want to create a weekly meeting page every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Brilliant. Boom. It's there. So now we have a start. We know exactly when this is going to happen. And this is called the rule summary for a reason, because look, it summarizes it. Every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. this thing is going to happen. So cool. Barb said, whenever someone adds a comment to a page, remove their access to the page. Barb, maybe just save that one for April 1st. We want people to comment on pages. We really do. One thing to keep in mind is keep your triggers specific. Okay. You want to have a purpose for the trigger, kind of like Barb's example. You don't want to trigger every time somebody creates a comment, because that is too vast. Like if you created an automation that was like, every time somebody creates a comment in Confluence, also throw a notification in Slack, that's a bit much, okay? Because then Slack is just going to explode, because everything that anyone says in the entire space is going to get dumped into Slack. So keep those triggers tight so you know exactly when they're going to happen, so there's not just a bunch of random stuff happening and nobody knows why. So have a purpose for your triggers, or else people will be triggered. So now we're going to add a new component to our rule chain. So there's a few different things that we can do here, and this is where it gets super exciting. Now, we could just take an action right now and just say hey, every week do a thing, but let's talk about a little bit more, because we can do a little bit more. So let's talk about conditions, which is, okay, this is going to happen every week, but maybe I want to say if certain criteria are met, then do the thing. And there are so many cool things we could do here. So there's user and page conditions. So this could be hey, when a new page is created, if the user is Erica, then do a thing, right? Maybe Erica's really important. And so we want to send a notification email to everybody that, hey, Erica just published a page. You can do cool stuff with users. Maybe you want to, no. Maybe you want to say, if the page, maybe the title contains finance. I'm looking for a page in finance. Then send a notification that, hey, somebody just published a page about finance. It might have to do with things that we're interested in, right? So those are, kind of simple, but very fun. We can start to get a bit fancy. So if you know CQL, that's Confluence Query Language, you can learn all about it by clicking this link. Thank you, Elizabeth Barr and team of content designers, for all these incredibly helpful links that are all throughout this UI. You can write a CQL statement here. I'm not going to do that right now because we're already pressed for time somehow, but you could say if page, all right, let's see. All right, I'm going to do a little bit here. Page title, Matt, typing, show, not again. Please, there's this validate query button that was added recently, and I always make it turn red because I always mistype this. If the title equals, well, this is not a great one, but finance, it's the same sort of thing. Is not wanting to okay. Already I'm getting myself into it because I'm trying to just type freeform CQL. Right, you can do some evaluations here, typing this in a more like a statement here. So CQL is quite easy to learn, but you could evaluate it with CQL. This is super cool. You can use AI. So if you're using Atlassian Intelligence, you can do some amazing things here. So you could say, if the body of this content relates to finance. Whoa. Okay, so that doesn't mean that it's going to scan to see if the word finance is in the page. It's going to look to see, using AI, it's going to see if the entire content of the page relates to the topic of finance. So if you are looking for a page in finance, this is going to do an incredible job to be like, okay, yeah, it never actually talks about finance, or never uses the word finance, but it is about something financial. And so we should continue running this automation. That is super powerful. AI is amazing. Lots of questions about Matt's CQL. Please, Matt will not be giving a live stream on how to write CQL live. You can also use what are called smart values. Smart values are really cool and a bit confusing, if I'm honest. So a smart value is think of all the little bits of information that live in Confluence. So like a page, we all are familiar with what a page is, but there's lots of bits of information about that page. So the page has a title, or the page has a comment on it, or the page has an author, or a page has a last edited date. Those are all little bits of information that we can use smart values to look at. So maybe I want to say when a page is updated, if the, you see what I just typed there? This right here. You see those little things? They're called curly brackets, but also that's called the double mustache syntax. And I mustache who named it that because I just love that. So I'm typing my double mustaches here, and I'm going to say page dot author. So this is going to be who just edited this page. If it equals Matt, if it equals Matt Reiner, then do a thing. So this is a way you can get very advanced with smart values. Yes, as Stefan said, smart values are heart. Smart values are, they're like mind-blowingly powerful because you can pull all this stuff out of Confluence. So I can say, if Matt is the author of this page, then continue to do this thing. Have I looked at all the conditions? There are so many things. Oh no, there's even one other option. So this is where we can get really cool and start to say, well, if this thing is true, then do this. If this other thing is true, then do that. So it's like so cool. So I'm going to say if the page title equals, contains finance. Oh, that song is just absolutely stuck in my head. I could have multiple criterion here. I am not going to. I could have another condition here. So, and the author, you can see how I'm like going in a rabbit hole here. The author is Erica because Erica is our financier. Look at this. So now we've created, if the page title contains finance and it's created by Erica, then do something. Or, let's see, we'll just say that. And then I could say, else. I can add an else. This is so wild. So I could say, oh, well, if that's not the case, oh, no. Oh, Matt. Else, and then I can add more conditions here. So I could say if the user who created it is actually Maggie, which we don't want to hear from Maggie about finance stuff, then do something else. So you can see that the chain is starting to spread out as I'm creating multiple branches of what could happen. So if someone creates a page, if the author is Erica and the title has to do with finance, then do whatever I put here. Else, if the author is Maggie, then do this. And then I could even just have another else, like if it's neither of these authors and it's not about finance, then do nothing or do something else. So, wow, if else conditions can become super powerful. And again, you can see me getting sucked down this rabbit hole, and time is not my friend right now. What is happening? What is happening? All right, let's clean this up because I don't need any of these. I'm just showing all the cool things. But speaking of cool things, there is something else that we can do. And these are called branches. And this is so powerful as well. And branches work very well with scheduled automations. Because with a branch, imagine you're looking at a space, for example, and you're like, hey, every week, I just want to I want to go through all of my pages and see if some of them need to be cleaned up. Laura says she loves branches. Actual branches on trees, Laura, or branches in automations, just to be clear. Because I love both, honestly. If I was in a tree right now, wouldn't this live stream be a bit more fun? Except the squirrels. There's a lot of squirrels. So many squirrels. I want to go through all the pages. Okay, Laura loves both also. Excellent. I want to go through all the pages in my space. And if they haven't been updated in more than 6 months, I want to archive these pages because I'm assuming that they're stale. A branch is the way we do that. So I'm going to hit this for each option here. And there's many things that we can evaluate here. So in that case, I would use the page branch. And I don't need the author criteria. I would say last updated is more than 6 months, not 16. Matt typing today. Right? So 6 months. So for every page that is, that has not been updated in more than 6 months, then I'm going to archive, and I'm skipping ahead to actions, but never you mind. Look at this. This rule is going to run every Wednesday at 9 a.m. and it's going to check to see what pages have not been updated in more than 6 months, and then it's going to archive them. That is amazing. That's going to happen completely in the background and just run and clean our space as if it's like, I don't know, like one of those robot vacuums or something. That's super cool. There are lots of other things we can do here with branches. So, I'm like breaking the rule chain here. Look at that Matt Reiner. He's always breaking the rule chain. We can also do this with tasks. So we could run through and find all of the tasks that have not been completed and send an email to everyone on the team, or even an email to the people that own those tasks and say, hey, you have these open tasks. Go complete them, please. Ideally. You can look for pages that are owned by deactivated accounts. So that can happen if someone leaves the team and then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of pages that don't belong to anyone. You could make a branch that's like, hey, if I find any of these, just assign them to Maggie, and Maggie can reassign them if she wants to. We could look for pages that are inactive. So those that are not showing in the content tree for one reason or another, we can move those under the homepage. So we can do things. We can also do some crazy stuff with Jira issues. I'm not even going to get into it, but it's super cool. Also, advanced branching. I have never seen my brain cook as much as advanced branching started to do that. And actually, Stefan and I both cooked our brains a little bit on this. I'll talk a little bit more about advanced branching if I have time here today. If you would like another live stream about absolutely cool advanced automation stuff where we bring in Avi and we send him a candy bar afterward as a thank you for all of the work that he does, I would love to bring Avi on here and be like, Avi, show us how to use advanced branching in the most complicated ways possible, because this is a very complex feature. So if you would like that live stream, just throw that in the chat, because I'd like to bring Avi on here and put the screws to him a little bit and be like, all right, Avi, show us what advanced branching is all about, because it's wild and I don't know what it's for exactly. All right, let's get back to our use case, which is on Wednesday at 9 a.m. We want to create a meeting page, right? That's all we set out to do. Why is Matt talking about conditions and branches? Because they're super cool, that's why. But we're going to go to actions, which is what we're doing this whole automation thing for in the first place. I'm going to add an action to the rule chain here, and there are a bunch of things that we can do. I can create a whiteboard. I could publish a page. I could send an email. I can create a database. I can send a message in Slack. I can send a web request to another application. So many, many, many things we can do. In this case, the team said they wanted an email. Okay, team. So I'm going to send this to the team, and I can pick who it goes to. In this case, I'm going to pick I can type in direct email addresses here. In this case, I'm going to send it to all Confluence users. Not necessarily a great idea, but that's what I'm going to do for this thing. And here is an example of where we can use those. Okay, we've got some interest in another live stream. I like that. Wonderful. This is a situation where we're going to use some smart values. Let's throw in some smart values here. So let's let everybody know, hey, this is ready. The weekly, so this is the subject of the email, weekly meeting notes. And I am not going to type this one. I'm just going to copy it for the sake of time. Boop. So take a look at this double mustached menace and tell me that it doesn't intimidate you at first, because this intimidated me. Some of the cool things that we can do with smart values is we can get more information than just what's in Confluence. So I remember I said, like, you could do page.title to print here in the subject of the email the title of the page. But this is actually doing some calculations for us, which is super cool. So in this case, this is going to give us the time for right now, whatever time it is, whenever the automation runs. Avi, you're killing me here. You're so far ahead of me. I'll get to this menu. So now, with the next Monday. So what's the date of the Monday that happens right after now? Put that here. Print that date right here. Now, what Avi is saying, because again, these smart values can seem intimidating, is this little button here with these slightly different mustaches. Here, I can find documentation on many, if not all, of the smart values that are available. And I could just start to type, I could say page, and see all of them here. So I could find, well, page.title is in here. If I say .title, page.title right there, the page's title. I love documentation like that. It's so good. I can copy it, right, to grab that value and paste it right in there. Or I can just peruse, right? So if I want to just see some of these that are available, I can dive in like that. This is a super helpful addition that was added in the last few months. This makes adding smart values so much easier. Thank you, automation team. Thank you. So yes, if you're curious about smart values, this is a great place to find them. Just so you know, when you're working with automation, a great approach to use is the HMMM approach, is what I like to call it, which is, often when you're working with smart values, you're like, okay, I know what I want, but like, how do I get that? Like, I know I want the title. Okay. Page.title, or, the title of the parent page, right? Like, just think to yourself, and then come here, right? Or you can see that I have documentation pages up. Beth Barr and the team have created some amazing documentation around using smart values, date and time smart values. You can see that I have literally been using these. Here's looking at CQL for conditions, as I was talking about. So throw it into Google if you're not finding it here, but always think to yourself, you can probably do the thing, but how you do the thing, that's why we have helpful menus like this. So we have the subject of our email here with the date of the next Monday. And actually, I want, not Monday, I want Wednesday, because it's for Wednesday, Matt. And then, actually, you know what? Let's use page title here. Actually, I think. Let's do that. And then, look at that one. I did that one freehand, and it shouldn't have that in there. And now I'm just gonna grab this text because I want to be quick here. But look at this. I can just write the content of the email body here. Hey, I've just created page title for you. Please add updates or topics by Monday at 13:30. Here is the page. Look at this. I'm gonna send a clickable URL to my team. This is one thing that's really important if you're sending emails or Slack messages or whatever from automation. Give content or give context. All right, at K15T, we are big into information sharing, and one of the things we've learned is that you should keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it clear and understandable, make it engaging, and give context and the ability to take action. Here I can see exactly what is happening here. Here's the meeting notes. I just made this. It's called this. Do this by this time. Here's the link you can use to take action. Don't fill people's inboxes or their team channel with a bunch of stuff they can't do anything with. Oh, Avi says they're adding manual triggers into emails. You got to be kidding me, Avi. Oh, there's some juicy details in the live chat, everybody. This is too good. See, why am I even doing this live chat? Because automation is going to be completely different next week, which is so exciting. Okay. We got our email ready, y'all. I'm going to hit next here. So we can read through the rule chain here and see what our automation is going to do. Every week on Wednesday at 9 a.m., we're going to send an email to Confluence users with this title. This is telling us exactly what this thing is going to do. This is super cool. Let's do one more thing, because as you can see, we've not named a rule. An untitled rule is absolutely unruly. So if we go into the rule details here, we need to give it a name. And we need to describe what this thing does, which is send a weekly, well, actually it's a weekly email. Oh my goodness, where's my brain? Weekly meeting notes page and send email. That might be a bit much. I have zero time to think about how to name this, but give it a name that describes what the thing does as simply as you can. You love it when I switch my accent. Yeah, it's a bit fun, isn't it? All right, so with the description, this is where I literally like to copy what's here. You know, these wonderful descriptions that are written here, and just kind of write this here. I'm not going to take the time to do that, but definitely write a description for each. So again, anybody can look at the rule to know exactly what the automation is going to do. You can limit this so that only you can edit the rule. Generally, let all the admins edit the rule, because you might be on vacation and somebody might be like, hey, we need to change this. You just let another admin do it. There are very few cases where only you or only a select group of admins should be able to do something. If you have one of those use cases, go for it. But otherwise, let all the people make the change. Cool. We've given it a name. It's too long, but I'm not going to fix it at the moment. Let's turn it on. We did it. And we're going to give the automation team a real thumbs up here. I could send a love letter to Avi and team right now, but I'm not going to do that. We've done it. We've created the rule. Now you can see there's an update button here now. I could come in at any time and actually change this. So I could say, hey, you know what else? You know what else the team wants to do? They're into this thing called Slack. They want to send a Slack message. So I'm going to not show you my webhook URL. Your Slack instance will give you a URL that you can use here. You can read about that right here. But I could take that exact same message that I created for the email, right, with smart links and all, and put it right here. This is going to go right into Slack. I'm going to get rid of this because, like, who adds a signature on their Slack messages? Unruly. So there's the message that's going to go into Slack, and I can pick the channel. So I could say, you know, all users. Well, that's not really a real channel, but I'm going to do that. And boom, I've added that to my automation. I'm going to hit update here, and it's going to be like, that's not a Slack. That's not proper Slack. Okay, thank you for validating it. That's not either, but whatever. And now, in 1 minute, I've added a new thing that's going to happen in my automation. It's going to send an email, and it's going to send a message to Slack. Are people actually going to want that? No, definitely not. They just probably want the Slack message, but whatever. If I go back to the automation area, I can see all of my rules right here. Here they all are. These are super, easy to look at. Remember, I said to add a description. Here's the description right here. Every first of the month at 9 a.m., the team will be emailed, ... I've also added labels here. These are really helpful for, just helping you see what does it do. In this case, it sends a notification and also sends something to our messenger tool. We can turn off rules here. So if you're feeling like you need to turn something off, it's not working, you need to go in and edit it, iterate on it, you can do that. Barb asked about exporting or moving a rule to another space. You can do that right here. There's the export option. So you can take your rule and be like, hey, this is really awesome. You can share it with another team. Like if another team's like, hey, I have a sparkly Charizard, we would trade that for your weekly automation email. Like, do that. Export that rule, get it over to them. And like your rule might not be worth all that much now, but like put it under the bed for 20 years. That automation rule is going to it's going to be sick. Another thing that might be helpful for you is the audit log. So this is where when rules are running, you can see if they are successful. And this is really helpful for these time-based rules like we just created. So you can see here, this one, it's got some errors. And I can hit show more here. And it's going to give me some details about like, what's going on here? Oh, it looks like Matt didn't type his smart values in correctly. That's never happened before. But you can really, search for things here. And God forbid you actually are audited. You can see everything you need right here. Also keep in mind, there are a few limits in place for what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, or as far as like, how much you can do with an automation. You can find those in Atlassian's documentation, of course. I don't think anybody here is going to be challenging that, but one example is when you have an automation that's going to take an action, you can do up to 150 actions with your automation and no more. All right, we've saved it. Our automation is running. There are so many other things we can do. And unfortunately, I'm running out of time. Why is this happening to me? This isn't fair. We're definitely going to have to do another one of these where we could talk a bit more about all the wild things you can do with smart values. I mentioned manual triggers, and these are super, super powerful. I'm going to go to a page, any old page here, and show you the value of manual triggers. So here is a page. Let's say I just wrote the content on this page and I'm like, hey, I want my team to review this now. I can come up to this button here and I could trigger this automation I've created called approve page. And this will send a notification to a Slack channel and tell the team, hey, Matt made this page. Here's the link for it. Please go and proofread the page. And it will just send it to Slack. I don't have to do that. It'll just happen. We use this automation that we've built within K15T like every day for our proofreading. It's super, super powerful. And it's available right here. I also showed how it's available in the content manager. There are more and more places where we can manually trigger automations, which is super, super exciting. Let's see. Oh, there's so many cool AI features like, hey, you could create a branch that uses AI and it goes through all of your pages and says, hey, these pages seem to be about finance. I'm going to add the label finance to all of these pages. And you're just using Atlassian intelligence to go through and do that for your entire space. And then you have incredibly powerful labels in all of your content. We have a video all about the power of labels in Confluence. I absolutely recommend that because there is so much you can do with those. I also mentioned webhooks and webhooks and web requests, which means you can start a Confluence automation from your third-party tool. It just needs to send something to Confluence, or you can send something from Confluence to start something in your third-party tool. You just need to have a tool that can handle post-style requests. If you work with web applications, you'll know what that looks like. They're pretty easy to set up. Definitely check out webhooks. And I didn't get to show off. You can do a bunch of stuff in Jira. So you could say, hey, we just created a new sprint in Jira with a bunch of issues. Now go and create test plan pages in Confluence for all of those issues because we know we're going to need to do that. Many, many powerful things. Oh my goodness, so much I can't talk about. All right, y'all, we're going to drop into the chat. There is a page on the Atlassian community where you can go and share some of the things that you've learned here today, and you will get a badge, a special learner's badge for attending this live stream, for learning and sharing with the community some of the things that you've learned about automation. So jump into that link and go claim your badge. And of course, share with everyone what you've learned. Also, if you know K15T, you know that we are super nerdy. We are absolutely about getting into Confluence, exploring it, seeing what we can learn. We have a Confluence collaboration hub, which is full of written articles and videos all about Confluence best practices, tutorials. We have a new tutorial series all about Confluence from kind of start to finish. We're currently exploring Confluence databases in a huge way, so tune in for that. We also have an article specifically about automation best practices. So if you want to share a written version with some of the best practices we covered here, as well as some that I just couldn't even get into, jump into that article. And then finally, we have a video version as well. So jump into the video or share the video. And of course, the recording of this live stream will also be shared with you. There are so many ways we would like to share our knowledge and continue journeying in Confluence with you. Obviously, automations is so big, so we need to do more here. But jump into our videos, our articles, subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and of course, continue to explore with us as we look at how to use Confluence to share what you do best. Bye.